ladies. Happy Thursday. I just wanted to quickly pop in here with firstly say welcome and also a couple of announcements that I wanted to make. So firstly, I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone for being here. And I've been thinking about how can I add maybe a bit more value for the group, because my idea of creating this group was, yes, to have this safe space for you to feel seen, even if you do not come forward with any comments, but just to feel supported with meditations, with some of the content that I put out there in terms of mindful self-care, positive thinking. But I want to offer more value to you. So I want to introduce those. For now, I'll call them Food for Thought Thursdays, where I might have just a bit of a 10-15 minutes quick talk on a topic of whether my own something that's going in my in my mind on that day, but I will be reaching more and more towards you through the group chats, as well as maybe separately messaging you, because I want to know, I want to know how I can support you. So just a bit of a background for those of you who do not know me very well. I am a somatic life coach, and what it means that I bring in the coaching skills as well as my somatic experience from being a yoga teacher, trauma-informed yoga teacher with multiple trainings that I have done and a lot of experience teaching clients from as young as a preschooler towards, I think my eldest client was maybe 85 years old. So for me, it's all about support. I also have a background in international logistics and business. I had been in corporate for a while. I moved countries. I'm an expat. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. There is a lot of different levels, and a woman, a lot of levels that I can relate to you and I want to support you on. So today, I wanted to go a little bit on a small discussion about negative and positive thinking. This has been on my mind a lot, but in particular the last couple of days, I started looking into it from the perspective of the dualities when we think that negative and positive thinking or events in our life, that somehow the word negative developed that even negative sense towards it. But if we look in the past, if we look in particularly old photographs, the negative essentially was just a blueprint. It's a framework. It's a work in progress. There was nothing bad attached to it. And as I start to think about it more, I wanted to share some thoughts with you and see if maybe this reframing might be of value. Reframing is one of my favorite things to do, to be honest, but I realized that it's not so much about flipping the script and just bringing positivity into everything. I look at reframing as resourcefulness. Some of you who have seen my video or heard me talk before, for me it's not so much about let go and throw things out. It's about how can I repurpose what I think, what I feel, what's happening to me in my life towards what I want to happen. Because I'm not gonna lie, there were different things happening just like to anyone in my life, and the reason I'm here in this group and the work that I do is because yes, there are certain shortcuts that I have developed for myself and I would like to share them, and as life continues I just continue to develop them. So here is something that I want you to consider. When we are born, and actually let's look at it this way. If you have a pen and paper, and if you want you can do it later, but imagine that you have a piece of paper, and if I was to ask you right now to separate it in half, and in one half to write 5 things that you want, and then on the other half to write 5 things you do not want. So if you are watching replay, then maybe pause it, or if you want you can do it later. But want to ask you, when you have written those things, which things have been easier to write? The things that you want or the things that you don't want? And another thing is, which items would be the ones with more detail? Because it's quite possible, unless you have been doing quite a lot of self-development work, and maybe today you are writing some affirmations, but it's in majority of the time, it's much easier for us to say what we do not want. especially with the detail. Because we can have maybe some more of a general things. I want health. This is something that, because a lot of the time we struggle to find the positive statement, because straight away we get things, I do not want this. And that's completely normal. So what I want you to think about is looking at those negative events, thoughts, as a bit of a context or benchmark. Because each time something happens, we realize that, well, this is what I do not want. So that brings you closer towards what you want. One of my mentors once said, and I absolutely love that saying, that if you are not sure what you want, write a list of what you do not want, and try to go from there. And that's just to give you a very simple example as well. Something doesn't carry any emotional load right now. So for example, imagine that you want to buy a dress. You need to buy a new dress or new outfit for something, and you do not know what you want. What do? You go into shops, maybe you start trying things. You try this color, you try this pattern, you think, oh no, this I don't like this. But you understand what I'm getting at. So each time we're getting closer and closer and closer to what we want. So one of the things that I would suggest, whenever something pops up in your head or something happens in life, and I know sometimes it's really hurtful things, and it's hard to think about it in the moment perhaps, but I invite you to look at it this way. What is this situation trying to tell me, in a sense of how can I use this knowledge of what I do not want to get closer towards what I do want? Now, normally I work with a framework of 3 questions, but today let it just be 1. So if you know what you do not want, what is it that I do want? And then maybe taking 1 step towards it. And this can be applicable to anything. In particular, and try not to get too into very emotional things, but even relationships, we can look at it this way. Well, when we're younger, we might say, well, I want to love somebody. And then it happens, right? And then, well, maybe you're lucky and that straight away everything meets the criteria. But quite often, how does it happen? Well, we might think we like someone, and then, well, actually, I want somebody who I can trust. I want somebody who cares about me. All these things. Same about friendships. Same about pretty much anything in life. So I just invite you to look at this way. Maybe the idea of the photography and underdeveloped structure of a picture could be a good visual for that. You will get the structure, we get the blueprint, but it's up to you to continuously add the color. So don't feel defeated. Each time the I do not comes into your head, just take a pause. Take a pause and think, oh, how can I use this knowledge towards the things that I do want, towards the relationship that I want, towards the job that I want, towards how I want to feel. I hope this is helpful, or at least maybe has given you some food for thought. If you have any comments, or if you would like to message me privately, by all means, please do so. And I hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. I know it's a little bit of weather, at least here in Sydney, it's pretty wet, but I hope maybe using those little tools of reframing from negative towards not necessarily positive, just moving forward, just forward. So I hope you are having a fantastic afternoon, and I hope I hear from you soon.